You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Balls Hog Liberty Podcast. This is episode number 367 of East Central Indiana's favorite podcast. Jeremiah Morrell, joined by executive video producer, audio engineer, coach, the man that has run more than a mile, 1,000+ days in a row, Mr. Zach Burcham.
Eating.
That's the enthusiasm and excitement that we signed up for him. He had so much energy. He was the first guy to the studio today. He was ready. He was the only person that wasn't in here after 7 o'clock tonight. And it took 39 minutes, and he's now been soul crushed.
It's been a long day. We'll discuss that later.
Co-host today, Mr. Chase Peyton, and other co-host Adam Bones Harcourt. Welcome, guys.
I'm back.
Chase, what do we plan today?
On today's episode, we will be discussing Indiana's governor race. They have a debate going on.
Right now.
Who's winning?
I assume Don Rainwater.
Gotcha. Indiana has some interesting ballot questions.
Yes.
A burn ban? We had a burn ban?
Well, there's one now.
I've been setting all these fires lately.
Hopefully not in Henry County.
Who is Bobby Allison?
You're going to find out.
Oh, boy. In the NFL playoffs.
Yeah. Do you know what those are?
No.
Great. Of course not.
Not
You're
one
a
of
Bears.
those
Of course not. You're a Bears
balls.
fan. This show's about our lives in rural Indiana, here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you, other times we'll make you laugh, but hopefully you'll always learn something new. If you're a member of our Patreon, you got yourself a nice 15 or 20 minutes today. 20 minutes, I'd say, where we spoke about kids chasing balls down a hill. Bones missed out on that part, so he'll have to catch it on the back end. And we also discussed Black Friday gifts and what the most heavy, horrible things are that we could order that Bones would have to carry.
What is the heaviest item you've had to carry?
Let's see. We've had a used bourbon barrel.
Ooh.
I've had weights.
I said weights.
And then the other day I had a whole bedroom suit. The headboard, the footboard, the dresser, and the mattress.
Ooh.
Don't want to scratch any of that.
It was all in a box.
Was the box pristine?
Sure.
Yes. If you're a patron, you get to listen to that episode. If you're a $50 a month or more person, you get a shout out at the beginning of each and every episode. Bones, who are those people this week?
Those people are this Jonathan Phillips of the Sports Corner and Varsity Outfitters.
Yes, John Phillips, Andy Moore Buick, GMC, and that's Blake Reese over at Varsity Outfitters. You know what they do?
Embroider stuff.
They do all the embroidery work for us and a lot of Trojans athletic wear, and they can do more and more for you. All right, so yes, right now the studio TV feed appears to be the LA Rams because Commissioner Chase Peyton runs a tight ship in the Boss Hog Fantasy League.
Yeah,
and one of us needs his Rams receivers to play well, so we are not watching the debate because it would be muted and we say somewhat focused. But we need some offense from the damn Rams, Chase.
I agree. My team is 1-7.
1-7. So this is the wind down of the governor's race that's happening now. Hopefully they're having a debate on the issues and not the mudslinging we talked about last week, guys.
Who should I vote for, Chair?
I mean, I'll give you a copy of my ballot, but
okay.
I mean, you got some fair choices. You got a Henry County citizen running in Jennifer McCormick.
Mm-hmm.
You got Donald Rainwater, who's a friend of the show. And if you want to be on Team Elephant, you got Senator Braun. You know, you could do that too. Was that
a horse?
That
was an elephant, but I think it was a horse. It just came out that way.
You guys ever see the elephant story?
No.
It never. Vicki Lawrence and Tim Conway from the Carol Burnett show.
No.
Okay.
So I'm doing a mail-in ballot this time around, Jer.
You are? Are you voting in Georgia?
Well, I'm going to be out of town all that day.
For sure.
So anyways, I went to see who I could vote for local wise,
Yes.
and it gave me so many options. It lists out, each person you can vote for, and no one was running against anyone.
You have a school board race.
I don't think so. I literally looked at all my options.
So they
were
got
all unopposed.
You got the mail-in ballot is what you did? You chose this?
Yeah.
You're this committed.
Yeah.
Is that because of this show?
My wife got it for me.
She told you what you're doing.
I would have probably forgot to vote.
Did she fill it out for you, or she?
No,
I
will.
She's going to permit you to make your own choices.
Really, there are no choices locally. I mean,
that's why we haven't had a candidate series this fall. Is it's that there just aren't.
This is why we're stuck with me.
This is why we have Bones. It's our Bones era. While we're working through the show tonight, do you guys want to break into the? Normally, this is a Patreon exclusive, but we're going to do it on the main show tonight because Bones can join us now. I brought us some Pennsylvania Poconos chips, Martin's kettle cooked jalapeno potato chips. That's door number 1. Door number 2 is a Bermuda snack that I think we should wait on for a couple more weeks, unless you really, really, really want to get into the Bermuda snack.
How hungry are you, Bones?
I haven't ate supper yet.
I think for your dinner, you're going to want the jalapeno hand-cooked chips and not the prawn crackers from Bermuda.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't think I had the prawn crackers while I was there.
Oh, look, we'll have them in 2 weeks.
Okay.
We will have them.
All right.
But we're going to skip out on it for now. I'm holding out hope Dakota makes an appearance and I can force feed them to him. That's why I'm delaying on the prawn crackers.
Dakota?
He's this guy about 3 foot tall, bald.
Kind of reminds you of Joe Rogan.
Has a worried face. Yeah, but he's not as super swole as Joe Rogan is.
Did he stop running?
Why don't you open up the chips? You can start passing out the chips while we work our way through this. So the other lack of competition, we have a Senate seat because Braun is running for governor. Representative Jim Banks, Valerie McRae, and Andy Horning are running for the Senate seat. There's not a lot of wheat in potato chips.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
It's just potatoes, aren't there?
Yeah, pretty much. And jalapenos, I guess.
You can take a handful if you want.
Ron Milford got it. Siamese elephants. He knew the Vicki Lawrence deal. Yeah, take yourself some chips there, man.
It's not so bad. It's not real hot.
All right, let's do
Zach, do you want to try some chips as
let's do it
as we derail ourselves?
I did not realize that there was school board on the ballot. I was looking at my ballot.
Yes. You should have, I think, Jackie Hatzel and Josh Estel, I think, are running against each other for the school board.
Yeah. Is that the only?
It might be the only contested one.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. So Jim Banks refused to run for, he refused to appear. He's got so much money and he thinks he's going to win. So he refused to appear on any debate whatsoever, even though the Indiana Debate Commission always hosts their deal. So they're going to debate next week without him. So Andy Horning and Valerie McRae are going to debate on the 29th, which is, what is that, guys? Is that Tuesday of next week? Something like that. Yeah, Tuesday next week.
Zach, would you like some chips?
Yeah, I'll come over in just a second.
One bite. Everybody knows the rules.
I'm afraid to jump in and eat them because you guys are so damn quiet after eating them that there'd be nothing left.
6.1.
6.1 is your ranking
Mm-hmm.
for the kettle chips of Pennsylvania.
Good crunch, good texture. Flavor's not bad, but jalapeno's not my favorite.
You went 6.1.
Yep.
These taste like barbecue. They taste like a hot barbecue, but they don't taste like. Zach is all in. He's got.
You said barbecue, and I'm like, sign me up. I love barbecue.
These are like a jalapeno barbecue chip.
I go 6.6.
I feel like Bones needs to house about half a pound of these, but he doesn't like them as much.
Yeah, 6.1.
The texture is phenomenal.
It's really good.
But the flavor is not jalapeno. I was expecting like a potato chip with jalapeno hot.
Yeah.
But they are dusted in barbecue.
It's got a little heat on the back end.
I like kettle chips are probably my favorite.
Chase, tell me about the bag, the texture, what it is, what we got. This is just like a local potato chip brand in eastern Pennsylvania.
It's a quality bag, Jer. It says Martin's kettle cooked jalapeno hand cooked potato chips.
Look for bits of hand.
They are tasty.
You can tell all the quality went into the chips and not the
Yes.
marketing,
100%.
Not the bag.
not the bag.
It's probably just a kick-ass local brand though. But the chip is good.
It is a really good chip.
I think
I would like to see
If this
other
is a salt and
flavors.
vinegar, I'd be
I'd
over
give
the
it
top
an
for
8 if it had more jalapeno.
I almost get like a salsa jalapeno or something like.
Yeah.
The smell that hit, like there's just like when you put it in your mouth, something hits your sinuses right away, and it's
I
something.
don't know
that-
about hits right away.
Well, I get like I taste something, but it's like it's a smell. It's not really like it's.
The chip itself is good. I just like it stronger.
You'd like to be overwhelmed.
But yes.
No, I think they've done well on that one. We don't need spicy Martin's flaming jalapeno chips. I think they did well in flavor. It's not my favorite flavor, but I think they did well in what we have.
What's your go-to flavor?
Sour cream and onion.
Ugh.
I like the good sour cream and onion.
Problem with sour cream and onion is that seems to be like the lazy flavoring that they use for a bunch of other flavors. And I'm weird. I have a weird sense of taste. But there's a whole bunch of other random flavors of things like the try like, oh, this is some weird flavor. And I try, I'm like, oh, it just tastes like sour cream and onion with like something else. It seems like that's the base for a bunch of other flavors.
This is the best chips that we've had on the show this year because Zach brought all the horrible Epcot stuff up.
Brought
And they were
stuff
like
from the
sour fermented fish
From
This is,
Japan?
yeah, this is much better than any of that stuff was.
It is just an actual, just a chip. Yeah, it's good.
I will say, Lay's came out with like the Cubano flavor earlier this year, and you can't find them anywhere. But those were fire. If every chip could taste like those, I'm in.
I'm more of a Doritos guy. Give me like a sweet chili or a Cool Ranch. I'm
Original
happy.
nacho taco.
I don't like the original.
No, I'm not going there. Like, you don't like the first version. You always like the second or third wife better.
I don't know, Jared. I'm not there yet.
Yes.
Maybe one day.
Okay. All right. I love you, Katie. We're going to try to regain composure. Did you know that in Indiana, we vote for our Supreme Court justices before this moment? They're on your ballot. Do you know the process, how this works?
I do not, and I'm about to cast a vote, so I need to know what's going on.
Zach, is this on? You knew this because you're a nerd and you've been around the show for a while now.
Sure, I'll let you tell it again.
So when there's an opening on the Supreme Court, there's an opening because somebody died, somebody quit, somebody retired, whatever, or somebody got thrown out. Since 1970, we've never thrown somebody off the thrown somebody out, but you go before the voters. So there's an opening on the Supreme Court in Indiana. The governor says, there's a panel, like a judge's selection panel that it says, here's all the people that might be interested in the job. They give a top list of candidates to the governor. It's like, I think 5 people. Governor picks 1, and that they're appointed. And now they're on the Supreme Court for 2 years. They're on the Supreme Court for 2 years, and then they go before everybody in the state, and you say, do you want to keep them? So that's the story with this Justice Derek Moulter. He just got appointed in 2022, and it's his first time where Indiana gets to decide if we want to keep the guy around or not. And then there are 2 more judges on there as well, Mark Massa and Loretta Rush. Loretta Rush is actually our Chief Justice, and they were both appointed back like over 10 years ago. So if you've been on for 2 years, you get a chance to be kept, and then once you're kept, you get 10 more years tacked on, and then you have to every 10 years. So once a decade, you come back before the voters. So Rush, Massa, and Moulter are all on the ballot. I think it's the first time we've ever had like 3 at a time in my memory. Normally you have maybe 1 judge. This time you've got just a crap ton of them. So there are some folks that are saying, hey, it's a chance to get rid of a bunch of people, whatever. We also have a mandatory retirement age. So when you turn 80, when these jalapeno chips are getting to your co-host here. When you turn 80, you have to retire. So it has forced out a number of folks. And if you're a show note guy, gal, it's all clickable. There's a listing here.
Can we move that age up?
I mean,
Can I write in 65?
you're too old to be to be on the Indiana Supreme Court, but you're old enough to be out running for president. or to run, to be president. Massa is 63. Loretta Rush is 66. And Moulter is he's a youngin. He's Zach's age, 42 years old.
My gosh, man. He got put on the Supreme Court for the state before he turned 40.
42 years old. Yeah.
Oh, we were talking about that kiss ass.
There had to be some of that somewhere. Yeah.
From Lafayette, Indiana. 42 years old. He was one of the. So this is the controversial side of the conversation. Indiana has a near total abortion ban that went into effect, and he was on the 4 yes votes to say, yeah, we're keeping that. And there was no written opinion on that. So that's why there's a small groundswell of folks that are saying, hey, we need to make a change and you can throw them out. What would happen, though, is if we say, hey, we don't want to keep these people, the governor, whoever that is, assuming maybe it's Braun, say Braun does take over, Braun just would get 3 appointments, or 1, 2, or 3 appointments to the Supreme Court immediately. So it would be, if you're trying to actually make a change, you would have to have somebody with a different point of view.
If the process is done in a normal fashion and not the way that the feds have done it the last couple of times that this has come up, because Holcomb's about to leave office, would he have the ability to appoint those people before he left office?
I don't think they would get through the process that fast.
I just wasn't sure, because obviously that election's in November. Everybody takes office. Elected officials take office in January. So I just wasn't sure if that was a thing that could happen. Because I know that in the Fed side, Congress has just drugged their feet and just not approved anybody, waiting for a change in leadership. So
the 2 of these folks were appointed by Mitch Daniels, 1 by Mike Pence, and 2 by Eric Holcomb. So you don't have anybody that goes way back to like Evan Bayh or Joe Kernan or anybody that goes that far back in time. But it's a while before anybody gets forced out. Nobody's getting forced off the bench until 2038. Loretta Rush is 66, so she's got 14 years before she has to go.
It could be like, what, 2060 before?
Derek Moulter,
yeah.
2057.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll live that long.
I'm just trying to see 2025.
2027.
Me too, Chase.
The other fun one is a constitutional amendment, Chase. You got to be a constitutional scholar to vote.
How many states share?
How many states? What? Indiana, 1.
All right. You got
you only have to vote in 1. So y'all know Jennifer McCormick. She was elected as a statewide office holder as superintendent of public instruction. She was the final superintendent of public instruction elected in Indiana. She was a Republican at the time. Now she's a Democrat. Mike Braun was a Democrat who's running as a Republican for governor. They traded teams. They were unhappy with her performance, and they eliminated her office. So it's now an appointed office by the governor. So he gets to choose essentially the Secretary of Education for Indiana. It was in the Constitution so that it was a constitutional office, so that it was one of those statewide office holders. So it was in the line of succession. So giant meteor hits. The governor, lieutenant governor, at some point down the line, the superintendent of public instruction is in there. So if you pull out your Indiana pocket constitution, you'll see that office lists there. They're trying to remove that because it's not an elected office anymore. Question I had for you guys is that there's a hell of a lot of people in the line of succession in the United States in the federal office that are not elected. All those cabinet, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, all of those are cabinet level whatevers. They're appointed and confirmed by the Senate. Do you think this should? Do you have any feeling at all? Have you thought about it as to what should happen?
How far down the chain is the office?
That's a good question that one of us is going to look up right now.
Is it like a designated survivor situation?
Yeah, I mean, but it's like, yeah, I imagine it's.
Is Kiefer Sutherland somewhere in there?
Here we go. The current line of succession. Oh God, Google had it. For
Alabama, Chair.
Oh my God, I got to go all the way. Do you guys want to know who's in line in Alabama?
No.
It is
Cousin,
different.
second
It is
cousin,
different.
Back to the first cousin, to the third cousin.
First in line for governor is the governor. Eric Holcomb.
There's a uncle
Second-
twice removed there too.
Oh, yeah.
Second would be Suzanne Crouch. Third would be second in line would be Suzanne Crouch. I guess next in line, Todd Houston, who's the Speaker of the Indiana House, the President Pro Tem of the Senate, who is Rod Bray, Indiana Treasurer Dan Elliott, who's a listener of the show, by the way. We met him at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and talked about Boss Hog. Then the Secretary of State, old Diego Morales, who the Indy Star accused of voting illegally last week, by the way.
Just add it to his resume.
And then our state auditor, Elise Nishala, who I've never heard of in my life. And they're showing, the old Wikipedia people are showing that it was eliminated, but it would be the 7th on the list. So
I would say we're okay to keep it, Jer.
Yeah,
keep it on there.
Are we really?
What are the odds? I see some of these other states and they have like 2 options. I'm thinking, if we are down 6 people, maybe we need that extra spot.
Yeah. Like how much of the state budget goes to education? It seems like at a certain point, if enough people are taken out, maybe that's who should be running the show.
We trust him enough for the job.
I trust him more than I trust Diego Morales.
So you want to move him up?
Yeah,
you would like to move them up the list.
Can we move Diego off the chain?
In the coup, Zach needs Diego to be removed.
Guys had like multiple accusations of his office is just like a touchy. It's like a petting zoo, but none of the animals are there voluntarily. It's not good. Yeah, this seems like a petty thing for them to be doing. They just keep stripping that office of more and more. I think that whole movement started actually under Glenda Ritz.
Yes, Glenda Ritz won.
Great crackers.
Yes. Yes, indeed, Chase Peyton.
Just dropping.
I'm efforting the line here to see if anybody else did the work, because the Wikipedia people removed it, but it's not. Nobody actually did the effort, did all the work to answer the question completely. We're gonna say it's 7th in line. We're probably never gonna get there, but 7th in line. Yeah, I think just to be an absolute shithead, I think we just vote, keep it on there. Don't amend the Constitution.
It's worked so far.
The only way, so we do get these questions on the Constitution, and I think property taxes were on there, and we've had a couple of others over the years. The only way that you can get a public question on the ballot in Indiana is through a constitutional amendment, and that's only happening if the legislature votes yes, like multiple times. So this has been brewing for a few years. But you as a citizen can't say, hey, I'm Bones, and I think that Indiana should legalize cannabis. We can't go gather signatures and do that like Ohio could or other places could. The only way that you're getting on the ballot with something is and you're putting it in the Constitution. It has to come through the General Assembly. So your Corey Criswells and the like are the folks that have to get that done. Burn ban. Zach, I want you to try to explain this to the world, because we've talked in circles about burn bans privately, because Summit Lake State Park shared what Henry County commissioners put out, and it's a weird ass situation.
Yeah,
I'm going to try to find the language, and I'll let you explain what it is, and we'll go from there.
so if it hasn't rained in a while, and it honestly hasn't. I think we might have had like one little overnight shower, but I think essentially the only rain we have gotten since August was Helene rolling through. And that was like a lot of rain, not like 2 or 3 inches a couple weeks ago, but that's the only rain we got. So we were under like I think a total burn ban at that point, where just no open fires. I think you got charcoal grills and stuff like that. It rained, everything got green, everything looks okay. I think there's a lot of leaves down. So evidently another burn ban has been instituted, but it sounds like it's not as, the problem with the burn bans is that they need to do like levels. You really need to institute a level system for burn bans. Because it comes down to, it's like, oh, there's a burn ban. What's that mean? And you're like, I don't know. You have to read them to see specifically what they say, because they can vary quite a bit from state to state.
So the state Homeland Security Department publishes a green, red, or yellow system. Henry County is red. Rush County is green. Most everybody to our south is green, but Hancock County also has one in place. You go to Muncie, they're still clear. You go to Rush County, they're still clear. So the language that the county commissioners used, it says this order does not prohibit the use. I want you to make sense of this and tell me what the answer is, guys, because I can't make heads or tails of it. This order does not prohibit the use of gas or charcoal grills used solely to prepare food, fires within fireplaces, or non-combustible fire rings, or fires within incinerators permitted by state law, as long as all such fires are closely attended while burning, sufficient fire extinguisher provisions are maintained, and the fire is properly and thoroughly extinguished. This open burning ban will remain in effect until sufficient rainfall is received to relieve the current conditions. So, who's allowed to have a fire?
What the hell does a fire ring have to do with anything?
We're gonna have to take.
I literally think that is the Summit. That's the Summit Lake rule.
With fires within fireplaces or non-combustible fire rings. So I think if you have you can't have an open fire, but if you have like a metal or a concrete fire pit,
Okay.
then inside of that you could have a fire.
Okay.
And you're
A
good with
wood-burning
like
fire.
the propane.
And then a non-combustible fire ring would once again be like your propane fire pit.
So is this like as bad as it gets?
I don't know.
I think
If it gets worse, like they're gonna have to-
I think that the burn ban we had prior to Helene coming through was, I don't think you could have a fire in a fire pit.
It was just we're under a burn ban.
It was under a complete burn. Yeah,
they're gonna have to pry my grill out of my cold dead hands.
They usually allow grilling as long as you're.
Where does this show up at?
So this is a letter written by the county commissioners, signed by Joe Wiley, Bobby Plummer, and Steve Dillinger, all alumni of the show, dated yesterday, October 20, or 2 days ago, dated Tuesday, October 22nd, and then Summit Lake posted it and shared it. It's just it's like it's so vague. I feel like we need an attorney to interpret it. And Sean Rao told us he wanted $500 to appear tonight.
How many people do you actually think see that?
Well, I see. That's the thing, is I don't know how it's enforced.
Yeah.
You show up if you're at Westwood this weekend, if you're at, are your neighbors calling and complaining about you? Are you in a campground? There's 150 people camping at Summit Lake this weekend. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know how it gets
the
enforced.
Non-combustible fire ring is that's essentially for camping. I think. But to me, that's the fire ring at Summit Lake. They're steel whatever rings.
And an extinguishing method.
Yeah.
I know that if you burn half of a mulberry tree like my brother was over the weekend, and it's like 8 inches of rolling coals, your little fire extinguisher is not going to knock that out. I don't know if you have sufficient whatever to end that fire. I don't know. It's crazy. It's just a giant debate, and I don't have a good answer for it.
What if you're having a fire in Knightstown? I mean, can we just skip 2 blocks south and
if you go to Rush County, you're good. If your fire identifies as a Rush County resident, it's fine. It's weird.
The map is kind of interesting because there's like certain counties. St. Joseph County is green. On 3 sides, it's got counties that are red.
Bones, where's St. Joseph County?
up north.
Up north.
Tipton County is. Hamilton County is the only bordering county of it that's not red, and it's green.
I think South Bend is on St. Joe County.
Yeah, St. Joe County is South
that's
Bend.
Notre Dame. Do you know what's in Tipton County, Chase Peyton?
No.
Tipton. All right.
Pork Festival.
A big
I
pioneer
think I
plant.
used to mow yard in Pipton. Where's that at on the map, Jer?
It's between Kokomo and here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty much due north of Hamilton County.
I never realized how tiny Blackford County is. It's tiny.
Hartford City, Blackford County, tiny little county.
Yeah, tiny.
Yeah. It's like probably 16 miles north of south. Do you guys know who Bobby Allison is? This is a great story. This is in the notes for Andrew Bowman and anybody else that just likes lifelong feuds and pettiness.
I do know who Bobby Allison is. I don't know the life story of him.
Tell me about Bobby Allison. What you know?
I just know he's a NASCAR driver from a long time ago.
Yes.
He's an OG.
So Bobby was one of those. If you know Bobby Unser in the IndyCar world, he's kind of a similar super independent guy. Alabama, led the Alabama gang. So Hueytown, Alabama, and he had 2 sons who raced. They were both really top end guys, and they both wound up losing their lives in the early 90s. One in a racing crash and one in a helicopter crash going to a racetrack. Donnie and Clifford Allison. Bobby's still living. He's 85, and he was tied going into this week with Darrell Waltrip, another legendary character from Cars, and he was the Fox Boogity Boogie Boogie guy on TV. So Bobby and Darrell had 84 Cup Series wins. They were tied for fourth all time. NASCAR announced that they are going to do their all-star race at a place called Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It's a little quarter-mile NASCAR track that has like weekly series. And they haven't raced there since 1971. The last race they had there apparently had such a small car count.
The
that
year
they had,
my mom was born.
They had Cup Series cars, and then they had like this junior formula car. And they basically said, bring whatever you want. We'll race them. We'll have a race. Bobby had cars in both series. He didn't bring his Cup car. He brought the inferior car because he thought it was a better car, and he won the race in it. NASCAR, he beat Richard Petty. NASCAR never awarded a winner. Even though Bobby won on the track, they never awarded a winner. So Bobby has maintained for 53 years that he won that damn race.
You remembered the race, Cher? Was it a good one?
It was before my time.
Okay.
It's before my time.
He watches it on YouTube, though.
But I've never seen a race at Bowman Gray. They haven't been to Bowman Gray since 53 years, but they're going to go in January or February for the NASCAR All-Star Racer. So Bobby is 85, and the president of NASCAR and the owner of NASCAR went and presented him a trophy. It presented him with a certificate saying, "Hey, Bobby, you have now won this race." Bobby Allison's like nemesis was Darrell Waltrip. Darrell tied him in 1992. Bobby's career ended early. He wound up in a horrible wreck at like Talladega in 87. He won the 1987 Daytona 500, and then he wound up nearly dying. He's the reason restrictor plates.
I was going to say 1987. If anybody's like, I'm not that up on NASCAR, but I think 1987 is about when the restrictor plates came about. Because if you look in like Bill Elliott had like all of those track records in 1987.
So Bobby won Daytona, and then he pretty much lost his memory after that. 87, 88. I think maybe he won the 88 Daytona 500. Anyway, he had a wreck that was so bad that was why they put restrictor plates on race cars, and that ended his career. They gave him this win. I think Darrell Waltrip's going to have to come out of retirement now to try to beat him.
He's still alive?
Yes.
Oh yeah, he's very much.
Yeah, very very much so. But bitter rivals. They've been tied for all these years, and now Bobby can die in peace.
Good for him.
I think it's great.
You think that was part of the Jordan lawsuit?
It may be. I think it's awesome. So now I think he gets to go around in the chase. He's Chase Cup. He's eligible now. He's the most recent winner in NASCAR history. I looked it up. This is the other fun stat. The winning speed for that race was like 44 miles an hour. It's a quarter-mile track. The race before was like 52, so they must have had a lot of wrecks. So the winning average speed was like 44 miles an hour. It's around a football field, and they still race there. Like there's still a high school football field there, so you can play your high school football inside of a NASCAR track. It's a stadium.
It's pretty cool.
The track around like what the high school uses around the soccer field, that quarter mile.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is.
I couldn't imagine driving a car on that thing.
Yeah, it's a narrow little deal.
Yeah.
And then you think 50, 60 years ago, like they were holding NASCAR Cup Series races there. And they're going to now. They did it in the Rose Bowl. So this is the race that they've been doing in the Rose Bowl the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're now just going to do it in North Carolina. They're not going to build the temporary track in the Rose Bowl this year. They're just going to do it there.
How big's Bristol?
Double the size. It's a half mile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 0.533. Zach, you're looking. You're getting nuggets. I can see it.
I'm watching the Bobby Allison accident. It's like classic.
What's the age? What year was it?
In 1987.
It was 87. All right.
Yeah. Although he got out of this one okay, so I'm not sure. There's another one at Pocono, I think, that was real bad.
Okay, so I think he had the bad accident in 87, missed some time. He ran the Daytona 500 in 88, won it, and then his career ended at Pocono.
But the Talladega wreck, you can look and see, oh, yeah. He
got in the fence.
Tire pops. Yeah, he peels like 35 or 40 foot of the fence just disintegrates. Like fans could just walk out onto the track at that moment, and it was just a single car It was if anybody watches NASCAR, it's like you could see all the safety features they didn't bother messing with because it turns and immediately lifts. Because they hadn't done roof panels, all that stuff.
How many left turns, Share,
How many left turns where?
at this race?
All of them.
Yeah.
Oh, left turn. Left turn. Look at that left turn. There's another left turn.
Well, it's really just 2 per lap because it's basically there's not
North
really,
end, south end.
Yeah, there's nothing between the 2 turns. Like there's no short shoot kind of situation. It's an oval.
Yeah, so this is why I was fuzzy on it. So he had his first accident in '87. He beat his son Davey. So like this is the other cool story here is that Bobby beat his son. He's
50 at the time.
Yeah, he's like he wins. This is probably his 84th win, unless he snagged another one before his accident later in the year. But he runs 1-2 with his kid to win the Daytona 500.
That's pretty cool.
And then Davey wound up winning it 4 years later in '92 himself, and then Davey lost his life the next year. So yeah, just a really cool story. But you got it to him just in time. But the picture that they posted, you could just see the joy in the guy's face. It was really cool. The man has buried both of his sons and one of his best friends, like in racing. That's just neat. Dude got divorced after his kids got killed, and then they got back together later or whatever. He wound up remarrying his first wife. NFL playoffs, Chase.
Classic.
Looking pretty good, Jer.
You feeling ready?
Yeah. Colts, are they going to sneak in?
So I did the math today. The Colts would be the 6th seed in the AFC.
The AFC kind of sucks.
But you'd be in.
Yeah, it's true. If it's all that matters.
And they play the Texans right now. I think they'd have to play the Texans. They would be the 6th. No, they would be
probably Buffalo, maybe.
Yeah, they play whoever the 3 seed is, which I don't have in front of me now. I can find it. I have it in the 3,000 tabs I have open over here. It's hard now that they added the extra team. If you're the 6th seed, you used to play the 1 seed, but now
we would play the Ravens.
Play the Baltimore. Good God.
Is Joe Flacco still playing for you guys?
He's on the roster.
Oh, well.
He's on the roster.
You guys don't have to worry about it.
So the Bears,
dude.
We're
a playoff team.
You have to play the number 2 seed right now in the Washington Commanders next week. You feel good about this? You're 4-2.
Yes. Yeah.
You are in the most difficult division in all of football.
I was feeling good about the game this week. Like Jared said, we play Washington. Jaden Daniels being a little bitch, though. I don't think he's going to play. He's bitching out. He's like, oh, we finally have to go against a good defense. My side hurts. He hasn't even been officially diagnosed with anything, Jared. They're just holding him out.
Your division is fattening up on the AFC South.
Yes.
This is my contention.
Yes.
You're playing the Jaguars. Everybody gets to play the Jaguars, and they get to play the Titans. They're already 2 games against the Colts. They've beaten. 2 teams have beaten the Colts.
The NFC North. The Bears are in 4th place. We're in the last place in the NFC North with 4-2 record,
and they're 7th place overall.
Everybody in the NFC North is in the playoffs.
It's the first time that's ever happened at this point in the season. And
because that 7th team doesn't
handed
belong.
the Colts a win. We just gave it to them. I mean, they played like shit that day.
Didn't you beat the Colts?
No, we lost them.
No. We only have a couple victories, all right?
Richardson
are one of them.
Richardson threw like 3 interceptions, and our team was just like, let's give them this one. They need it. And then we should have beat the Texans, and we shouldn't have beat them, but we had a chance to win that game. But the rest of the NFC North is just tearing it up.
So, Christy Avery's team, I put this in here. The Lions, number 1 seed right now.
Yeah. The Lions are pretty good.
I have our Super Bowl picks.
They lost their best defender, though.
I have a Maya Copa for that one.
Bones, you picked the 49ers. They are not currently in the playoffs.
They're not.
Chase, who was your Super Bowl pick? We don't have it recorded over here.
The Bears.
Yeah, so we're just going to write him down for the Bears. You're at least in the playoffs. The Lions, number 1, that was my pick. The 49ers are currently the 12th place team in the NFC.
Yes.
What's your
Maya Copa? All right.
What do you got going? How?
The NFL is weird this year,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
We had a survivor pool that 20 people got knocked out of in week 3. And you get 2 strikes.
And by week 3, 20 of them
people were gone.
Yeah. Zach had the Chiefs. They have not lost a game yet. They're
Not.
still
And
P1.
they haven't even looked good, but they still have not lost a game.
There's a guy that I have not watched enough men of football. I probably won't this year, but who just traded? Was working on trading a guy to the Chiefs, like the Titans or something.
Yeah, Hopkins.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? You get traded
from
to
one of the worst teams in the NFL
to the Chiefs?
Devontae Adams got traded from the Raiders to the Jets,
He went
and
from a
he
bad
lost to the
team.
same team.
Oh
2
yeah,
weeks
he
in a
lost
row.
to the Steelers twice.
He lost to the Steelers 2 weeks in a row.
I saw a stat today that the Chiefs have not thrown a passing touchdown in October, and they're still undefeated. That's crazy.
It's good to be a Kansas City Chief. It's good to be a Chief.
No, I feel good about my Bears share. We're about to stomp Commanders. We're going to win next week. We're going to win the week after that.
When do you get a new stadium?
So the goal that I've heard is to have a shovel in the ground in 2025. Could be the end of 2025.
Where?
I don't. They say on the lakefront. That's the goal.
They've given up on the Arlington Heights
Well,
I was
dream.
gonna say, why'd we buy Arlington then?
They still own Arlington.
Yeah,
They
backup stadium.
originally wanted to do it in Arlington. They bought the place, and then Arlington raised the taxes on them. It was a whole tax situation. The Bears didn't agree with it. And then the new president they hired to build this stadium, the same guy who built Minnesota Stadium, he decided, I think we should do it on the lakefront. So now they're on this.
I mean, the Bears iconically have been on the lake.
I
Moving
hope
to the
they go-
suburbs seems crazy.
I hope they go to Arlington.
Really? Why? Why would you want that? It's further away from here.
Okay.
It's the middle of nowhere.
The reason why I want it is I love Soldier Field. I would have been fine if they would have stayed in Soldier Field. But they're putting a roof on it anyways. So, like,
Are you going to be okay with your team being a dome team? After all the shit you talk about the Colts being a dome team? And the Lions being soft and being a dome team?
I've been to games.
You think they will put a dome on it?
They're for sure doing a roof. It's not going to be a
The people
A
of Chicago
retractable
are going to
roof.
allow this?
Yeah, the roof is a for sure done deal. I think they're going to try to do it more glass.
Like they did in L.A.
Like in LA or Minnesota. It's not going to be retractable.
Where do we have property at on the lake that we can actually do this at?
Got to blow up Soldier Field.
Yeah.
Knock down the 100-year-old gem.
Yeah. I wish they would.
I think, isn't Soldier Field historical
Yeah,
landmark?
they can't do that. It'll be turned into, they've talked, if the Bears move to Arlington, they've talked about bringing another football team to Chicago. Probably won't happen. They'll use it for concerts. The reason why they should move to Arlington is because the Bears organization actually owns that property. So they can build their own stadium. There's enough room on it to build hotels. It'll increase their profit.
The
by
train
a shit
system
ton.
does go right to its front door. I will say that.
The field and Soldier Field.
CTA or Metra? Zach's an expert now.
Oh, no, not really. It goes to which
I was
one?
on it
Goes
one
to
time.
Soldier Field or to the Arlington?
To Arlington.
The actual grass on Soldier Field has always sucked. It's historically bad. It's gotten a little better over the years, and that's thanks to Matt Eberflus. He actually was like, hey, we need this type of grass, and it's gotten a little better. But, like, the Chicago Bears, they don't have their own team that takes care of the field. It's all ran by the city.
I was going to say it's the Parks Department. I
And,
believe.
like, they have to schedule things around what the city has going on. So there could be a concert one week when they're on a bye week or playing away, and then they come back and the field's real shitty. Like, I think it's better to move. I mean, it'd be nice to keep them in Chicago, but I mean, it's like a 20-minute drive, 30-minute drive. I don't. I think it makes more sense for them to go to Arlington.
Don't
Maybe.
quote me on this.
It's a
I'm
commuter
pretty
rail.
I'll
It's
be
not
honest.
it's not the regular goods. It's not the fast one. It's the commuter big like real train cars.
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
goes out there.
Yeah.
I don't really care what they do. I love Soldier Field.
So you're okay if they move to London?
Well, don't move to London. Stay in
What
Illinois.
if they move to Wisconsin?
Stay in the Chicago area. Okay.
Is Soldier Field really a historical landmark?
Yeah.
It is.
It's been around a long
It's the
time.
oldest NFL stadium.
Don't quote me on this, but I think the base of it is actually still wood.
I like Soldier Field more than I like Lucas Oil.
I'm just really
I
shocked
paid-
that the NFL allowed a stadium to, because for the simple fact that they can't just bulldoze and rebuild on top of it. Like, because sports don't care. Like, very few sports teams give a crap about their venue. They're always ready to bulldoze it and build a new one if it means to get to host a Super Bowl or whatever they want to do.
Yeah, I mean it's city owned. It's been around for it's
I
the
think
oldest
it's a war
stadium.
memorial.
Is it?
I think so.
It could be. Yeah.
Here's the other fun NFL stadium fight. You know that the Bears or the Packers are having a fight with over their stadium
Lambeau.
over Lambeau Field.
What does the town want?
It's owned by the city.
Yeah.
And the whole thing's owned by.
The Packers say that they want the county to now have some ownership stake in the stadium. And the city is like, the hell you do. So now they're having a fight between the city, the county, and the Packers, where the city council people were having a press conference outside the stadium
Aren't the
today.
Packers owned by the city?
No.
They're publicly
something?
traded.
Publicly
They're
traded.
owned by
Okay,
the
they're
people.
public. Okay.
The people of Green Bay.
I knew that their ownership.
But the stadium
was
is
a very
owned by the
different
city.
thing.
And now
Bunch
that
of drunks.
and now they're trying to give it away to the county. Big old pissing match. So I can't wait to see them move to Milwaukee.
But the Bears haven't even always played at Soldier Field. They played at Wrigley before they went to Soldier Field. They played at a place before that. Like,
The Decatur Staleys.
yeah.
They played in Champaign when they were landing the UFO on top of Soldier Field, right?
I love Soldier Field. You know, there is not a bad seat in
What's
Soldier
the
Field. You
family-
can see everything. Unlike Lucas Oil. You can pay a shit ton of money and you're like, oh, these are shitty seats.
You don't like that stadium.
I don't like it. I like the seats you had. Those are nice seats.
Didn't somebody just open up a new hockey venue though? That's horrible. There's upper deck seats that you can only see like 2/3 of the ice, like thousands of obstructed view seats in a brand new arena. So like, Lucas Oil just amazes me is how big that place is.
Yeah.
Have you been in there now, Zach?
In Lucas Oil?
Yeah.
I've seen. Oh yeah, I've been in a couple times. I've seen one Colts game, but then I've been to a couple of band competitions there. But it's so big. But to me, and this is it doesn't hold that many people for as big as the place
Yeah.
is. Like it's like similar size to the Dome, and the Dome seems like a lot more compact thing. I do marvel at it because it sits out by there by itself, kind of on the edge of town, and it's an enormous structure, and it's cool. But it's just, it's not particular. Nothing about it's particularly impressive. But they're all
The roof. So I watched a video when I was in school about how the roof works. Just the electrical that goes into moving the roof is insane.
I think the roof is secretly broken at Lucas
It
Oil right now.
could be.
They're opening the window, but I'm pretty sure the roof is broken.
I don't know how you would maintain it.
And I'm guessing at this point that it's one of those deals where they can't really get the parts to fix it, so it's just
Yeah.
permanently shut. But I'm like 95% sure it's secretly broken.
Well, thank God it was broken when it was shut.
Broken, closed. Got to wedge it closed. Other stadium news: Market Square Arena is
Mhm.
now. It had a less of a life than the Gainbridge Arena. Banker's Life.
Is that where the
Pacers
blown
play.
that up?
Pacers play?
So it's now older than MSA was when they blew it up.
Okay.
So
It's
the new
in great
Pacers Arena
shape,
is
too.
25 years old, and it's older now than MSA was when they torched it.
It seems like it's in good. I've been
Yeah,
in-
it just got a
nice.
I've
huge,
been in
it
it.
just got a
It's in, like,
huge
they
investment
keep
redo.
it in really. They keep that in Victory Field in great shape. Like those are two venues you walk into, and they do not show their age.
It's the same building, right?
What's that?
With
Where the-
Old Conseco.
Conseco.
Yeah, Conseco. Yeah, but
I don't
before
know
that,
if
it was
I've-
Market Square Arena.
I don't know if I've been since it was Conseco built up.
It's now Gainbridge.
It's always
Thanks,
well, it
Zach
was
Beach.
Conseco
Okay.
originally, and then
And then Banker's Life, and then now it's
Gainbridge.
Gainbridge Fieldhouse. But yeah, Market Square Arena was blown up in 1999. or they left there and they moved to the new place.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it only
feel
lasted
like
25 seasons.
Market Square Arena was completed in 1974. I just don't think that anything built in the 70s aged well at all. I think it's one of those things that, like, within 10 years, they felt 30 years old. Everything.
The Titans are already building a new stadium, and they moved in 1997. Like, the age of these stadiums is just like, Indianapolis better be buckling up because somebody's going to want
You
to
got
replace it in no
about
time.
a good 20 years on a stadium, and then
for $1 billion investment.
Yeah.
Now they're running $2 to $3 billion.
See, that's also the good thing about Indianapolis is that everything is right downtown.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to Dallas or LA or wherever, and everything's
They're all spread out.
Yeah.
Kansas City stadiums are way out.
Kind of downtown. It's still pretty far away from downtown, but
It's there. I mean,
It's
the museum
walkable.
campus is right there. That's
it's right there. I mean,
That's
it's
in the heart of it.
It's an Uber ride to straight down.
or a pedal cab.
Yeah, I did the pedal cab. It was fit 5 people on it, $25 per person.
although I would think getting out of Soldier Field on a Sunday would be an absolute fucking
That's the worst part. The parking
You just walk over to Meeks
situation is
Field, get in your
terrible.
plane, and fly away.
Parking situation's terrible. Food's terrible. Bathrooms are terrible.
But you love it.
I love it. Seats are great.
Final thoughts, Zach Burcham?
I was just looking at the fact Market Square Arena cost $23 million.
And they never paid it off. They just rolled
I know,
the debt
but,
into
like,
the next one.
Reference to the football coach that I talked to at the field house, at Newcastle's field house. I bet there's $23 million high school football stadiums in Texas.
Oh, easily.
No doubt.
It's just like,
No doubt.
Bones mentioned before we started the show that he hates drivers in Indianapolis. I would like to echo that. I was in Indianapolis today. First of all, they shut down the stretch of 65. Was it
That I use every day.
between the guy runs between
West Street.
and the North Split?
Yeah.
I don't understand how they could have closed it down again, because I distinctly remember losing a tow mirror off of my Tahoe on that stretch of road, and it fell and hit a construction barrel 3 years ago. It was under construction.
So this
This is because bridges now just sit on it and they don't fasten it down to anything. So
I
it's
know we
smooth.
learned that. Did we learn that here?
I have a little color to add. This particular project is west of the job you were talking about. Traffic control is the same place, but they're working in a different area. Second, I happen to know that there was a small plan error on that project. So on Monday morning at 7:30, my phone rang and they said, "Hey, we need 24 of this thing." I drove to Ohio myself personally, picked up 24 of the thing they needed, and drove it to Indianapolis, and they had it by noon.
I was just like, I just passed barrels by in this area 3 years ago. But I
I
had to
think
go to
Indianapolis is constantly under construction.
It's all over the place.
Well, I think that they
You know the
nothing
military
ever gets
industrial
done.
complex? We have that for construction. We have to
Yeah.
be working.
I think that's how they
We have a
dealt
whole industry to keep alive.
when I was going downtown, I didn't realize that was closed. And I was like, well, the only backup I'll have to deal with is right there. Well, that's how NDOT dealt with the backup. Just close the road down and make y'all go to surface streets. I had to go to the hospital complex that's down there with all the IU Raleigh and all that stuff. And I'm on my way back. I think I'm Michigan Street versus Michigan Road. And a light turns yellow. And like any normal human being, I stopped. And I looked in my rearview mirror, because I always check my rearview mirror, and the van behind me was far enough back I could see the entire front end of this van in the rearview mirror. Nothing's hidden out of view. And he smoked me. Smoked me.
Hit you?
Yes.
Well, no one slows down for a
Where were you
yellow
driving?
light.
The Mazda. And it actually took it like a champ. There's no visible damage. There's no visible damage. It cracked the license plate frame or license plate cover I have on. I keep a tinted license plate cover on it. And I trying to figure out if he popped a fastener on the back bumper, the back bumper's kind of popping out a little bit on the right. And I'm trying
Did y'all
to push it back.
exchange numbers?
No, I didn't even do it. I crawled under it, made sure that all the brackets look good and everything. He's like, "Oh yeah, you damaged." We're gonna pull over here and look. And I crawled under it and looked. But it's dirty, but I was like, I don't see any scuffs on the bumper or anything. He hit me in the Toyota Previa, or Sienna, early Sienna. But I was like, I still have a headache. It hurt. I'm tired. I want to take a nap because it just but I'm like, I am so tired.
Were you in the car alone?
No, Jackson was in the back seat with me. He started crying right away.
I was going to say, how did he tolerate this?
He started to cry right away because he was trying to figure out what had happened. Because like there was like normally when you're in an accident, there's like a crunch. There was no crunch. It was like bumper to bumper just through the plastic. So it was literally like the back of the car got smoked with a sledgehammer.
Did you call it a shunt?
I don't know. I didn't really get moved enough for a shunt, but it was an attempt. And like, but I was like, this guy had 30 or 40 feet to stop.
He was probably on his phone.
He was an IUPUI maintenance guy because he had his jacket and all his keys and stuff on him. And he was nice about it. But I was like, we're going to pull over here and I'm going to look. Like, I'm not taking your word for it. Hit me hard enough that his Toyota emblem popped out of the front of his van.
Bones, I didn't hear you sing happy birthday.
To who?
As you washed your hands.
Oh, sorry.
But like, I told my son afterwards, I was like, you're okay? He was fine. He calmed down pretty quick. I was like, I hate driving in this town. They all drive like assholes who think that they're super important and where they need to go is just the most. Because normally, because I stop at light because if I'm out of red light and the light turns green, I look both ways and count to like 3 before I go.
Make sure nobody's coming through.
Because not only will they run a red light, they run a red light like they're Davy Allison. Like they will blow through a light at 70 miles an hour. It doesn't matter if it's a surface street. So yeah. So Bones talked about he hates Indiana. I hate it too. I do not understand. And then because of that construction, I had to drive from Riley. And I finally got on, I'm trying to think of what street I finally got on 70 at the very edge of that construction. But I had to drive like 2.5 miles of left and right, then left and right, and just weave my way to the north side of downtown.
It's crazy when you look at like a map on GPS and it's just the whole circle
is red.
is red.
Yeah, it's so dumb. I'm glad that I work in Indianapolis, but I barely work in Indianapolis, and I'm so glad that I literally risked my life at one traffic light, and then I blew through it. I get through another one, and then I'm on 70. Like I'm on 70 like a half a mile.
You have an easier commute than a number of your coworkers that live in the city.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, because I have a 40-mile drive. You know, if they ever get done with this construction on 70, it'll be even better. But if there's no construction, I have a 40-mile drive and I do it in 40 minutes. Yeah. It's like it's 100%. It's like 2 miles or it's 1.5 miles of that to 3. And then from there I can do the whole thing and never have to stop. And most of it's on the 36 miles of the 40 miles on the interstate.
Must be nice.
It's delightful.
Bones, you choose the package delivery life, man.
Yeah, they pay very well. Okay. And Rush County is very cheap to live in. So I have to make it up.
I think you choose it. I think it chooses you.
Oh, no. You choose it. Trust me, you choose it. Every day you wake up. It's like, do I need to do this? Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
So you're entering like the absolute hell season for somebody doing this.
Yeah.
When will it turn into just the abyss? And when do you get to breathe again? Like you've done this a few seasons now.
Second week of January.
So I assume from Thanksgiving until the second week of January, it's just going to be
you kiss everybody goodbye.
You just won't see anybody, won't do anything. You're going to be out till 11 o'clock at night.
There have been nights, yes. It's always fun delivering somebody at like 8 o'clock and they're cooking supper where you smell what they have for supper and you are starving. And you still have an hour left to work.
So do you want people to give you cookies?
I just want, yes.
I know somebody that keep a basket out on the front porch with snacks for delivery drivers.
Yeah, we do that. I see that all the time, but still, there's hot food, and I have a bag of chips and a water.
That's what somebody needs to. That's what we need to use.
You need a crock pot out front with chili.
It's not every delivery I get from UPS, but some of them I get. They're 10 spots away. They're 10, and it'll tell you that like they're close, that they're 10 deliveries away from your house. So like that's where you're like, oh, like throw something together. Do you guys have a system by which you can fool my Ring camera? Because it's pretty amazing what delivery guys can get on my front porch without that camera going off.
No, you just got to walk at it sideways.
Yeah.
I set off mowing my yard. And a couple days ago, the UPS guy got 3 packages directly under my Ring camera without setting it off.
Ooh, we sneaky.
Yeah, I don't know if he like shuffle pucked him across the porch and like hid behind a shrub
he
or
just
something.
launched him.
It was like three different ones. I'm trying to think of what the one. Not all. One of them was the case of beverages. So one of them was a 12-pack of 20-ounce beverages in a box. So I don't know how they do it, but
You're an asshole for doing that, by the way.
that's not me. That's my wife.
Okay. Well,
That's my wife, and she can't get them anywhere else. A lot of times she does Walmart.com for a lot of them. But yeah,
My confession is that we subscribe instead of dog food.
where do you get the dog food from?
Amazon.
Oh, you don't do Chewy?
No.
Oh,
Amazon.
Fuck you.
does Amazon use their own delivery guys for that? Or do
They generally do, I believe.
No, I have never seen an Amazon delivery have to, like, their drivers don't do anything heavy. We get all of Amazon's bullshit.
So the Amazon drivers have soft hands.
Yeah.
I've only ordered one super heavy thing, and I felt bad about it. Like I would have gone and helped the guy unload it if I'd have been there when he dropped it off.
I generally, if I'm like out and about, I will like offer a bottle of water. I'll have that, and I got a beer fridge right there. And if I'm outside, I'll be like, "Hey, you want?" Well, I've also offered beers, and nobody ever takes me up on it.
You're better than I am.
We
I
thought
don't
about
think
it.
I've ever ordered anything heavy and thought I feel bad for that person.
Well, I
I'm
think-
usually like, thank
'cause-
God I don't have to move
It's
this.
because Chase works for a living. He's got
Yeah.
calluses and bleeds.
I don't have any final thoughts, Chair.
Bones is still working on his. We were.
Jack Doyle's weights that day. That was fun.
You delivered Jack Doyle's weights.
Yes.
Those are NFL weights, man.
Yeah. That was a big weight set. It
Like a
took
whole
three
set.
of it took three of us drivers to get that thing done.
Like the entire weight
How
room,
many-
basically.
Did you all know you were going to a
boxes?
celebrity's house and everybody wanted to go to Jack Doyle's house that day?
No, the driver that was doing it was old and he had like 2 months left and I was helping him out. And I go, we're going to need some more help with this stuff. Because Jack kind of lives in a hoity-toity neighborhood.
A lot of stairs, long driveway.
Not long driveway, yes. Not a lot of stairs, but it was a lot of weights.
A lot of boxes.
Yeah, and he retired 2 years later.
You helped with the Colts win football games.
I'd like to think so.
Maybe. No final thoughts, Chase?
No, I don't really got anything, Chair.
I cut my grass. It was long and terrible.
Yeah, I do
And
have
I-
to cut my grass.
I thought, is this the last one for the year?
Better
Am I
be.
done?
I
Like
keep
a mid-October
putting it off.
cut.
I keep putting it off. It's nearly cut for like a week and a half now. I'm like,
Leave us.
I'll stretch this out a
I've
little
seen
bit
your
longer.
yard, Chase. It should take you like 4 minutes to cut your grass.
Here's what you got to do. You got to watch the weather. And if there's like a windy rainstorm coming in, you got to do it right before then. Cut it kind of short so that way when the wind blows the leaves,
They go to the
blows them
neighbors.
into a neighbor's yard.
Ah.
But like I mowed my yard once since in this whole kind of dry spell, and it did not mow well because we got all that rain, and then we didn't get any rain, so the grass was green and it was kind of long, but it just laid over when I
Yeah.
mowed it, and it did not cut. It just was like I combed it over. I
yeah,
was like, this is frustrating.
it takes me longer to weed eat than it does to actually mow my yard.
What's a UPS guy do for like this time of the year for home maintenance? Like how do you
Well,
function?
she wanted.
You're going to work like 17 hours a day.
Yeah.
I'm worried about your safety. You're still expected here on Thursday nights. There's no getting out of
Okay,
that.
well, you might as well put the X to that once Thanksgiving hits, because I'm out.
You just got to order things to here.
That's right. Yeah, we got to get him on our route.
You just have to deal with Amazon returns to UPS stores. You guys
That's
have to
why
pick
I
all
say it's
those
like
up.
second week of January. That's why it's
Because all
usually
the rush of picking that stuff
You've
up.
got to
and taking
pick
it
up
back.
down at the Walgreens.
Walgreens, CVS, UPS stores, AutoZone.
How much crap do you pick up? Like, everybody thinks about you delivering, but I guess do you have regular pickups at businesses too that are like
Everything
significant?
everything you return from Amazon
Yeah.
goes through UPS.
Right. So you go to a UPS store and it might be a quarter of a truck worth of crap.
Oh, a quarter of a truck would be a lovely day.
Really?
How about a full truck? Hey, you're calling for more help after that, saying you need to send 2 more drivers through here.
You get help unloading your truck or like putting it in so you can do your deal, but you have to load that by yourself.
Oh yeah,
This is why he's in a union. They're paid well though, folks.
somewhat.
We saw the Lexus you're driving around.
Oh yes, the Lexus is missing the hubcap and now has another headlight out. This is why you do when you have one headlight out, you go with you fix both of them.
I figured that's why he's on water over there tonight.
It's like, God damn it. The other one went out.
I swap them both out because most of the time you buy them pairs anyway. But if the good one, I throw it back in the package as a backup and throw it like in the glove compartment or something. Like I have an extra headlight bulb for the excursion in the back.
See, this is why you don't go cheap on this shit like I did. And but I could just get one, they'll be fine.
Why don't you just trade the car in? You get ready to come into some money.
Yeah.
Go to Andy Moore Buick GMC. John Phillips will hook you up.
I will say this: go visit my cousin Mary. Opened her soap shop downtown.
That's right.
She's got a official storefront. She's had a store, but like I never actually got to her Sulphur Springs location, but she has a storefront like downtown in the 1300 block of Broad Street, right between Maxwell's Mercantile and Kai's Cafe or Kai's All American Bistro. I was trying to think of the name they're using for the restaurant. So go check it out and buy some soap, some bath bombs, all kinds of stuff.
Vikings just scored a touchdown. As we're going off the air, Chase, is that good or bad for your team?
Well, it's bad for my bet. I don't even know who that guy is.
Are we still in the first quarter?
I'm trying to figure out who scored first.
I look over here and Chase is whimpering as the touchdown is scored.
You still in the first quarter?
Yeah, there's 53 seconds to go in the first quarter.
Damn.
Rams 7, Vikings 13.
We got the Vikings throwing to some no names.
What was the
here,
over
not
on this
helping me
game?
That's not Justin Jefferson. That is Superflow
I had
Jr.
a Kyrene Williams touchdown, so that helped me out. But the Vikings were just fucking me over at this point.
What was he over?
Next week is Halloween. That's Thursday. There will be no show. So you all get next week off. And we will be back a week from Thursday.
Overdose on candy.
We will be back a week from Thursday.
Doing lines of Smarties.
Will we know who the new president is? Find out then. We'll see you in 2 weeks.